It's like New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. He opposes the SAVE Act, doesn't want to demand photo ID to prevent illegals from voting. But when he asked New York citizens to come shovel the snow, somehow they need multiple forms of ID.
House Republicans are criticizing you for requiring workers to bring multiple forms of identification to sign up for that job. They tweeted, quote, "Let's get this straight. In Zohran Mamdani's socialist utopia, it takes 2 forms of ID to shovel snow, but no ID to vote. Make it make sense," unquote. What's your response to that, sir?
Well, here in New York City, we follow the law, and it's federal law to require certain forms of identification in order for someone to actually be paid for this kind of a job.
It's the law, he said. Do they even hear themselves? So American citizens show up to shovel. The money they get is then taxed, of course. And some of that tax money is given not to Americans, but illegals for health care and other free stuff. And guess whose budget gets cut in New York? The NYPD. Mamdani moving to slash their budget. And 5,000 new hires all of a sudden canceled. So they denied wanting to defund the police, and here we are. No wonder why Mamdani shows no concern when we've seen these horrible videos out of New York in the last couple of days. NYPD officers being pelted not just with snowballs, but ice that's injured some of them being hospitalized. The former Mayor Eric Adams declaring today the attacks on law enforcement need to stop. No wonder why even the New York Times has suggested these blue cities are decaying. And saying Mamdani is going to need to change how he runs his city. Same in all of the big cities in California, LA, San Francisco, where Gavin Newsom started out as mayor. Billions of dollars have been spent to end homelessness in the state for nothing. And look what happened overnight. This lady who ran a homelessness nonprofit in San Fran, she was driving around with a car that literally had a trunk full of jewelry. Allegedly, she stole $1.2 million that didn't go to the homeless. Gavin said nothing, did nothing. And when he's asked about it, he's going to say he knows nothing. He's too busy on that book tour, where yesterday we told you he tried to connect with black voters in Atlanta by saying he can't read. Well, look what we found when he was talking to 2 white authors of a book some months ago.
You've written a hell of a book, and I don't say that lightly. I went through it in a quick hour and a half, almost 2 hours, but it's 18 chapters. It's an impressive piece of work, 263 or so pages.
A guy who can't read yesterday read 263 pages in under 2 hours. Democrats like him, to get through whichever audience they're facing at the time, lie. I think all the president has to do tonight is tell the truth about what he and Republicans in the House and Senate have been doing, not saying. And that's the big take. So let's bring in one of those America First warriors I mentioned. He's Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. Senator, welcome. Always good to see you.
Well, Ed, hope you're doing well.
We are. And I think America is, and the president's going to say that. We'll get to the State of the Union in a moment. But first, Gavin Newsom told us, and he was telling black voters yesterday, he can't read. He had a really low SAT score. Now we learn he read a couple hundred pages of a book very quickly. What's going on, do you think, with the governor?
Well, like so many, if not most, Democrat candidates, they're wolves in sheep's clothing. They will not tell the American public or whoever their electorate is the truth of who they are. They're a bunch of radical leftists, and of course, radical leftism is just destructive. It doesn't build anything. It's not constructive. It's just destructive. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is when Americans realize that and they vote for change, they also are pretty impatient. So, for example, President Trump came into office, at least 10 million people led in this country illegally. Over 650,000 had criminal records, 15,000 murderers, 20,000 rapists. It's an enormous mess to try and clean up. Then when he tries to clean it up, Democrats don't help. They resist. They train activists to impede and obstruct justice. They encourage their supporters to put themselves into harm's way. People get hurt. 2 people get killed. They have their martyrs. Then they exploit the martyrs. And of course, the legacy media is, complicit in this all day and support Democrats as they're trying to basically tear down the system.
And there's an incredible contrast to what the president will talk about tonight and the beauty of capitalism compared to socialism in New York City. And I saw you posting on X about Zohran Mamdani and